What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another episode of the Young Guns podcast with my co-host Kid Blue. Before we get into it, shout out to everybody that's in here earlier. We got Levance, Silo, Ren, Namar, Edward Chan. Silo saying, "Wow, that Hill trade was mega duh. Miami is gonna be hurting with no new skilled players for a while, and KC late round picks." Don't like it. Well, we'll certainly talk about it. The Rant, what's up, man? How you doing in here as well? It's been a while since I actually used the sound effects, so you guys know what I'm about to play. Let me make sure I remember it correctly. I think it's this one.
This is a certified hood classic.
And this one. I still got it, man. Hey, whatever you want to start off with, man. Let's start in chronological order, I guess, with the Matt Ryan trade, because I believe we talked about the Deshaun Watson trade on last week's episode, right? Or did it happen? No, it did not. When did it happen?
I think it's happened a while ago. I think we talked about it already.
Okay, then I might be tripping about that. Eric Champion, how you doing, man? But yeah. So Matt Ryan traded from the Falcons to the Colts. The Colts now for like the 5th straight year have a different starting QB, and the Colts continue to somehow continuously find a legit starting quarterback ever since Andrew Luck went down. I don't know how they do it. I will say, I think this is definitely an upgrade from Carson Wentz, and maybe even an upgrade from Phillip Rivers as well. I mean, not to say that Matt Ryan is the world beater that he probably was in his MVP year, but he's better than those two guys at that point in their careers. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Matty Ice gets a bad rap because of obviously the lack of success in Atlanta. I think Matt Ryan's still a great quarterback. I think any team even at his age right now, probably not looking to build around Matt Ryan, but any team like the Colts, who are the Colts have been championship ready for a couple of seasons now. It's just they just haven't.
What do you think that the window is closing? Because I was about to say it's been a couple of seasons.
It's closing soon. I know their offensive lines never last long. Okay, look at Dallas right now. Dallas needs to rebuild their offensive line, and they've had a great offensive line for years. Now they have to rebuild it. The window is closing soon. They have a great offensive line. They have a young defense. Their defense may stick around a bit, but their wide receiving core is not as great, right? And then you got T.Y. Hilton getting of age now. Their offensive line won't stay that way forever. Ryan Kelly was drafted a couple of years ago. Don't know if he's re-signed with an extension with them. But, then you have, our boy Quentin Nelson in there as well. We don't know if he's sticking around too long, So you never know. The window is closing for Indianapolis. They have to find a way to get something done. And I think this was a indication of that. They said, listen, I don't care if we have to get an old – well, how old is Matt Ryan? Like 37, 38? He's got to be – he's up there. He's up there.
Alexa,
35?
how old is Matt Ryan?
There we go. Alexa. We are
36.
See?
Yeah.
36 years old. I know they didn't trade the farm for him. I think they had a 3rd-round pick. That was an absolute win for Indianapolis to go. Remember, we were talking about it. We were like, what are they going to trade for now?
Not necessarily forget Indianapolis, but to add on to Indianapolis. And by the way, guys, as you're coming in, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you aren't already, share it out, and definitely check out Kid Blue if you don't already know who this man is. I'm sure you do at this point because I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces in the chat. We got Eric in here, Duran, Giant Carbonator, Tony B, Mike Nixon. What's up, Mike? Edward. This entire offseason, like I mentioned earlier, has been crazy, but somehow, some way, these quarterbacks and even the skill position players up until Tyreek Hill got traded have been moving for cheap deals and trades, bro. Mid-round picks. Remember, Devonta Adams got traded for, what was it, a single first or a second or something like that?
I feel like
Tyreek Hill was the only. I feel like Tyreek Hill was the only guy so far when got moved actually moved for his value, if that made sense.
Yeah, and it was like above it was a quarterback type.
Amari
value,
Cooper
right?
was the one that got traded for a 2nd-round pick, right?
Right. Yeah, it was like a 2nd and 3rd or something like that. It was something like that. And a 2nd and 5th I could be bugging out. I know it was multiple picks though. I don't think it was just one pick. But Devontae Adams only traded for a 1st and 2nd. See, I understand why Devontae Adams was traded for them. I don't know if we talked about it on the channel.
Oh, Cooper was a 5th-round pick. See what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
a 5th-round pick.
I think because he was already signed to an extension. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into play when it comes to those type of things. Like Devontae Adams, everybody was going crazy that Devontae Adams wasn't traded for his actual value, and I understand that. But there's a reason behind it. He wasn't going to play for Green Bay. All the leverage was on the Raiders. The Raiders could have gave him a 3rd round pick, and the Green Bay would have nothing to do but to take it. Besides release him.
Not even just that. Like even Ali Marpet when he got traded, I think it was for a mid-round pick as well. And I mean, offensive linemen, I guess you don't really see offensive lineman trades that much, but I definitely thought he would have been worth at least the first because he's one of the best interior linemen in the league. But then, I mean, honestly, Russ, I think, got traded for fair value. Tyreek may be a little bit much. We'll get into that. But everybody else, I was kind of surprised by. These guys are not going for what I'm expecting them to go for or what we thought they were worth.
The Dolphins pulled a pretty ballsy move, in my opinion. Although I agree with you, it is his value, but it's a ballsy move, being that you kind of have the next coming of like a Tyreek Hill in Jalen Waddle.
That's what some
You know what
people
I'm
were
saying?
asking, right? So let's quickly kind of go over the trade details first of all. And I see somebody says Matt Ryan or Matthew Stafford all time. Probably go with Stafford. That
Hell
sounds
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah,
But not
Stafford's
anymore
so good.
because now he actually has a chip. Before he had the chip, I would have still said Stafford, and then people would have called me crazy because it's been like, well, Ryan been to a Super Bowl. Well, now Matthew Stafford has a championship. Let me pull up the trade details. I know it was the
Okay. Why?
29th overall pick. Do you have it pulled up?
No, I'm saying why you do that. Isn't it crazy that Matt Stafford and Matt Ryan, as great as they are, they're never going to get the respect that they deserve. Like if Matt Stafford didn't go to Los Angeles, he would have never got the respect he ultimately deserved because they were part of Atlanta and Detroit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're two of one of the most like irrelevant franchises in the NFL, and they were great. Matt Ryan was fantastic, especially that Super Bowl year. Matt Ryan would deserve that MVP, and he's been a baller, man. But Atlanta really killed him. I hope that Matt Ryan has the same effect that Matt Stafford did in when he went to the Los Angeles Rams.
Like I said, I think
I hope that Matt
he's
Ryan
been
gets
the best
the respect that
quarterback
he
they've
deserves.
had, in my opinion, since Andrew Luck. Because
Mhm.
Philip Rivers was
I
at the
agree.
end of his career, so and like I wasn't
Yeah,
really
Philip was
expecting
not
much out
good.
of him.
He was still pick six Philip.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Carson Wentz, he was honestly going there. People were like, "This is his do or die season," and like he wasn't terrible,
Guy.
but he didn't really do anything at the same time. And now you have Matt Ryan, who I think still has some in here. So here's the trade details. Kansas City trades Tyreek Hill to the Dolphins, and then Kansas City receives the 29th overall pick this year. That's the first round. The second round pick, number 50th overall, a fourth round pick, a fourth and a sixth round pick in the 2023 draft. So 5 total picks. It's a lot. And then Miami gave Tyreek Hill, and this is where I'm just like, this is where I disagree
Yeah.
completely. A 4-year, $120 million extension. $72.2 million of that $120 million is guaranteed, and 52 of that 72 million is like his at the signing. What?
He
For a wide
topped.
receiver, my guy?
Not only that, we just mentioned it. Not only that, not just for a wide receiver, for a wide receiver that they kind of already have in Jalen Waddle, who's on a rookie contract. It
Let's
really defeats
attack
the
that point
purpose.
first, and let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
have you handle that because
Okay.
we talked about this a lot last year's draft when we were talking about possible receivers the Giants could take. So go ahead and give a breakdown on Jalen
Yeah.
Waddle.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle, man, and coming out the draft, a lot of people saw a lot of flashes of Tyreek Hill. Now, it's very hard to really say that, oh, he is a Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill has blazing speed. I wouldn't say Jalen Waddle is as
Tyreek,
fast
as of
as
right now,
Tyreek
Tyreek Hill
Hill.
is still one of one.
Yeah, still one of one. I would definitely say that Jalen Waddle, because remember, Tyreek Hill coming out of the draft when he was drafted, it was a running back, so like wide receiver kind of guy. He
He was
was
a
just
gadget.
starting wide
He was a
receiver. He
gadget
was a
player.
gadget guy, and then he transitioned to full wide receiver. Andy Reid got him right. Jalen Waddle already was one step ahead. He's way better of a route runner, not as fast as Tyreek Hill, but you can definitely say that if there was a pro comp that Jalen Waddle had, it was Tyreek Hill. And with Miami already having him there, it's very confusing. Not only that they would trade for him and they trade the amount they did for him, but extend him to be the most paid wide receiver in the NFL in NFL history.
Well,
Okay.
we all know who we could
That-
blame for this. We all know two parties that we could blame for this: the Jaguars and Christian
yeah.
Kirk.
Yes.
Christian
Yes.
Kirk, a number
Yes.
2, possibly even number 3 receiver. But I'll call him number 2. Number 2
I'll
receiver
say number 2. Yeah.
receiving what at that point was the highest receiver contract of all time. And now you got Tyreek Hill breaking the mark. That's quarterback money, bro. That's
Yeah.
legitimately quarterback money.
$30 million on average. And like I said, it defeats the purpose of having a guy that can replicate a Tyreek Hill type play. Not saying he is a Tyreek Hill, again, before people, take my words out of context. He definitely is a comp to Tyreek Hill. It really defeats the purpose to having a guy on the roster on a rookie contract like that, where you don't have to pay big money to, and then going ahead and trading so many assets for the player who is like your other player and giving him the biggest contract a wide receiver has ever had. It really is like, what are you doing with Jalen Waddle? Like, what's the point of Jalen Waddle in the first place? I know to have the
No,
two
I will say
speedsters
that
out
is
there,
one
I
that is
get
one
it.
of two ways to look at it, right? That is
I
one of
get,
two ways to look at it.
here's the thing. I get it to have the two speedsters out there. But if you want two speedsters out there, why don't you get like a guy like freaking, I'm just thinking off the top of my head, just burners out the gate, like John Ross, Marquise Goodwin. You know what? You want a speedster out there, Brashad Perryman. They were all in free agency. You can go ahead and get a speedster in free agency. You don't need to get the exact replica of a guy who you have already on your roster on a rookie contract. It doesn't. It totally defeats the purpose. Miami could have went on to try to build something over there in Miami and try to get to a Super Bowl, and they could say, "Man, we have a guy that's like Tyreek Hill, and we're not even paying him Tyreek Hill money." Now they have Tyreek Hill. They're paying him Tyreek Hill money,
Well,
and
they're
they have
paying
a
him quarterback
guy,
money.
quarterback money, and they have a guy in Jalen Waddle who's still there.
So let me say a couple things. First off, I don't know if I gave a shout out to Eric. What's up, Eric? We got Giant in here, just the name plain old Giant. That's kind of interesting. What's up, man? Lamar Santos. What's up, Big Blue family? Did I miss anybody? Flex Lopez. And so this is what I'll say. It's one of two ways to look at it. The second way to look at it is that what better person to mentor the quote unquote next Tyreek Hill than Tyreek Hill himself? You know what I'm saying? That is another way to look at it. And like you were saying, listen, it's going to be hard to guard those guys. It's really going to be hard to guard them. It's going to be hard to have two of what is supposed to be the fastest players in the NFL be out there, whether they're running deep routes, whether they're going on crossings, whether, it's slants. It's going to be hard to have two cornerbacks on the opposing defense somehow keep up with them, or some type of zone scheme that's going to keep up with them. I'll say this for sure. I think the biggest question here, and what's up, Jake S., is, is Teddy Bridgewater really about to throw for 4,300 yards and 35 touchdowns next season?
I mean, are you saying Teddy Bridgewater is going to win the starting job?
Do you think Tua has a chance?
Here's the thing. We talked about Tua on the channel before, how I'm not high on Tua. I really am not. But I think Tua has a fair shot to beat out Teddy Bridgewater. I mean, I like Teddy Bridgewater. Don't get me wrong. I wanted him to come to New York. I wanted him to come to New York over Tyrod Taylor. But I don't think Tua is automatically going to lose the job. I know Tua has some problems and he's younger. And Teddy Bridgewater, it may be the same situation that the Giants are in right now, where it's kind of Tua's job to lose. And
I was literally about to say, I look at the Miami, and I hate doing this because over the past 2 to 3 years, I've done it a lot.
Right,
We've both done it a lot.
Judge, now they're both gone, and
but the quarterback situation is almost exactly the same. You got Tua in Miami with Teddy Bridgewater, a guy that's known to be an elite backup / really good bridge quarterback, and you got Tyrod over here, and it's like, I'm be honest, both of these bridge / backup quarterbacks can beat both of the guys that are supposed to be the starters and win the starting job.
Yeah, going to the quarterback position now, it then leaves like, I get it. You have Tyreek Hill there, you have Jalen Waddle there. Is the reflection of everything you paid for to get Tyreek Hill, is it going to pay off with quarterbacks like Tua or Teddy Bridgewater? Is that really going to pay off? Like, I get it. If you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert there, right? Then I could see like, oh, damn, you guys are going to work. You guys are going to eat with this, right? But if Tua or Teddy Bridgewater are out there, I mean, what's the ceiling for this offense? I mean, realistically, what is the ceiling for this offense? You paid a lot. You gave this guy the biggest contract a wide receiver has ever gotten to match up with Jalen Waddle. Okay, fine, we did it. And you traded 5 picks, this year's first round, this year's second round, and a couple of other picks, right? You did all that. How much is that going to pay off with the quarterback situation?
They also did help a lot with the offensive line. Didn't they have a couple big signings on the line?
Yeah, they signed Terron Armstead. That's the biggest signing.
Just like how the Tyreek Hill contract is questionable, I would say the Terron Armstead contract is questionable just because of length. He's already like 32. They gave him a 5-year contract. I might have to pull up and look at see how it's broken down.
How they can get out? Let me look at it.
Because I don't know how much longer he's gonna be one of the better tackles in the league. And there was somebody else that they signed as well. Speaking of offensive line signing, Austin Ryder went back to the Chiefs, so that's interesting. They have Creed Humphrey and Austin now. Maybe they kick Austin back out to guard and keep Creed at center. We'll see. A lot of movement with the offensive line.
Still not out yet. Still not out. Been waiting for that, but the contract details still not out. I imagine they're gonna give him a potential out probably in 2025,
Fluid is telling me
base
that it was a
34.
cheaper than a usual elite tackle contract. I mean, if the details are not out, let me
Five
see
for
if I could just
75
find
is pretty big, but
5 for 75. I mean, for an elite tackle, what are what are tackles being paid right now? What did
I want to
Lyle
say they're
Collins
right
sign
around.
for?
Maybe I'm old with this, but I know it used to be like right around 15, 16. Maybe it's higher now, but I want to say it was like 15, 16.
Does anybody know what Collins signed for with the Bengals? Because he's the younger guy, right?
Lyle
So
Collins.
we'll see. That's also no contract details are out yet. This is
Yeah.
hilarious. Flex, we got okay, I think I gave everybody a shout out. I think Frankie G's in here. What's up, man? Eric says Tua is going to look different this year, no doubt. Whether that's for the good or the bad, the question is, but this new scheme is going to be different. Oh yeah, he got Mike McDaniel now.
That's good. See, that's something I'm really looking forward to. I know Mike McDaniel. And here's the thing. I don't know if this is Mike McDaniel just trying to, hit the ground running in his first time ever as a head coach and try to kind of mask any of his rookie mistakes. Every rookie head coach, is gonna have flaws, right? Every rookie head coach is gonna have flaws. He's his first time ever being a head coach. He may be trying to mask all that. Miami came into this offseason with one of the highest, if not, I think the highest cap space in the NFL
Which
going
is
into
why
the
they were
season.
able to give out these
Which is
contracts, I
why
guess.
which is why they spend a boatload of money, but is this the time to do that is the question. Now, this could be smart because even though you spend all this money this year, these are multi-year contracts, right? Next year can be totally different. You can have this year to really kind of grind it out, see where all the pieces lie, see how you guys can develop and grow together. Having Terran Armstead there, having Tyreek Hill there, Mike McDaniel, in his first year, having all those guys there, spend all this money now so that then next year, if you potentially get another quarterback, then think all your pieces will be there and they already have a year under their belt together besides the quarterback.
What do you think about
So
Miami's
this could be a
defense? I
good
don't know.
this could be
I think they're definitely missing edge rushers.
I mean that's a good problem to have to only be missing edge rusher or like pieces on your front seven because
Mhm.
their secondary stacked. Their secondary has no problems at all. They just got to find some edge rushers. Good thing this is a very heavy edge rusher class. So I mean, I think Miami's in a good situation right now, but we've seen these type of things before. We're Giants fans, right? 2016, we always think about those times. We spent over $200 million in that offseason in total, in the total contracts. And we had one decent year with it, and that was it. Okay. So Miami is on the similar path right now, not as bad as what the Giants did, but they're on a similar path. I like what they did. Very ballsy, but we'll see how it pays off, man. We'll see how it pays off.
And I'll say this, because what up, so we're partying in here. I see there's a little bit of a debate with Wentz and Ryan going on in the chat. I don't know if we're gonna get into that. Mike Green, I don't think I sent the link out to anybody. In fact, I'm using a new StreamYard room because way too many times people have clicked trying to get on when it's not the call-in
Oh
show.
yeah, I've seen it.
So
Put me in, put me.
so I'm like, I had to create a completely new StreamYard room. So nobody has this link right now except for KB. He's the only person that got it.
Sure.
Let's shift to a Giants topic. Then we're gonna get back to general NFL. But with the Giants topic now, listen, man, the draft is about a month away, and the Giants have been, rumored to really, really like Charles Cross, a guy that I've liked for a while. I can't remember if you liked him that much as well, but
Oh yeah.
you liked him as well, right? And for a minute there, it seemed like a lot of people were kind of not necessarily talking bad about Cross, but there was talk saying that, oh, we shouldn't take him at 5 or 7, wouldn't be worth it. And now it seems like his hype train is building back up.
Mhm.
So hey man, Cross at 5 or 7, if none of them are there, I'm completely with it. And it seems like they're not necessarily in love with the guy, but they like him a lot.
Yeah, I've said this already. Carolina at 6 is a big danger for us. Okay, so if some case were to happen, right, and where you get Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon, and the two top tackles in Neal and Ikwanu off the board, which is very possible, those four guys are off the board. That would probably be the worst case scenario for us. If those four guys are off the board, taking Charles Cross at 5 is a must because at Carolina is either going quarterback or they're going off in the tackle. I really don't think they go any other direction. They shouldn't go any other direction if Matt Rule wants to keep his job. You don't go in any other direction. You don't go wide receiver. You don't go corner. You don't go safety. You don't go linebacker. You don't go any of those. Pass rusher. You don't do any of that. You get an offensive lineman, preferably tackle, or you get a quarterback. And I'm hearing they're in love with Kenny Pickett. That's their mistake, and
And
that's
we're
their
we're gonna
grave.
get into the quarter because there were
Yeah.
both of them had great pro days. Of course, Malik Willis's
Mhm.
was kind of like it went viral a bit more. We'll get into
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. But with Carolina at 6, you don't want to take the chance that they, oh, maybe they'll go quarterback. They're probably going to go offensive lineman. If you get a guy, I don't know, Jermaine Johnson at 5, right? If Kayvon is taken and Aiden Hutchinson are taken, maybe you take Sauce at 5, right? Either way, Carolina goes ahead and takes Charles Cross. You're screwed at 7 because you have to take another position other than offensive lineman when we really want an offensive lineman at one of those picks. You have to take Charles Cross at 5. I think the Giants are preparing for that situation. Now, there are reports that they are in love with Charles Cross, which is true, but they're also in those same reports. They also saying that they still rank Neal and Ekwonu
Which
higher, and
makes
I think
sense. I agree with
which
that.
obviously makes sense. Yeah, and I think I say good on the Giants for doing their due diligence and preparing for a situation as if Neal and Ekwonu, because we've seen it on a lot of mock drafts where Neal and Ekwonu are taken before the Giants, and the Giants are left with a decision there at 5 and 7. So I like Charles Cross, and I completely do not have a problem with them taking. Is it a little bit of a reach at 5? Sure, maybe just because he's the third offensive lineman ranked and taking him at 5, kind of the math kind of isn't there. But I still think need and kind of best player available. I would take Cross at 7 at 5. Quick little like scouting report on Charles Cross. A lot of people didn't like him coming out because he didn't have that nasty grit that offensive linemen are coming out with. Mekhi Becton really put that out there, right? But last year, Mekhi Becton, all his highlight reels and stuff like that. You look at Ekwonu this year, it's kind of like
Aquanu,
Mekhi
don't you
Becton.
dare compare Becton to Aquanu. All right,
You
don't
know
do
what I
that.
mean, but they have the nasty grit highlight reel type offensive lineman film, right? When you look at Charles Cross, he's very conservative. His footwork is superb. We've seen that in the combine. He had, in my honest opinion, he had the best combine of all the offensive linemen in offensive tackles in the combine. In my opinion, had great footwork. People thought that he had bad footwork because he was so conservative. He barely moved his feet because he was just very energy efficient. He's not very mean, right? He's not very aggressive, but he gets the job done. And he, to me, is the most true left tackle in this draft. I love Evan Neal, love Ekwonu,
So let me ask you this,
but
because
Evan Neal and Ekwonu, you
honestly,
can move
it's
everywhere
the
else.
grit thing. It's the not the attitude in terms of mean attitude on the field, right? It's the attitude thing. Is the nastiness thing that offensive linemen really have, and do you really want a right tackle? I feel like that's the major reason some fans are uncomfortable with taking him and putting him there. And of course, the idea has come up. Well, not if he's the best left tackle in the draft, or like the most pure left tackle in the draft. Why not put him at left and have Andrew on the right? My response to that is, if they deem that the best situation, I'm gonna trust them for now. I mean, like, you can't. I have to trust them at least for the first year. I'm gonna trust their
Right.
decision making on that. But I'm a big Andrew Thomas fan. I'm like the biggest Andrew Thomas fan out there. I want to keep that man at left tackle. I feel like he's finally hitting his stride.
Yeah, chance to
And
stunt his
and
growth.
I've
Chance to stunt
joked
his
about
growth.
it so much, but I legitimately mean it, that he can be one of those best guys in the NFL. I feel like don't mess with it. If anything, put the rookie at the right tackle. And on the call-in show, a lot of people expressed this opinion last night as well. Put the rookie there. Let him learn the right tackle spot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no. Here's the thing. First of all, I don't think there is any sort of scenario imaginable that you could think of where Charles Cross or rookie will beat out Andrew Thomas at left tackle. It's just not going to happen. I know people are going to say, but if it happens, then you have to. It's just not going to happen. Let's just face reality. It's not going to happen. Andrew Thomas is on the up and up. He's getting attention from like the mainstream sport. I mean, the mainstream NFL right now as being one of the better left tackles in the NFL and really coming up there. I think he was like one of the most improved players by one of the networks that I was watching. I was very surprised they put Andrew Thomas in there, but yeah, he's on the up and up. Andrew Thomas as a left tackle. There's no reason why you're going to take a rookie and put him at left tackle and then stunt Andrew Thomas's growth after everything he's accomplished and overcoming adversity and injuries to then put him at right tackle, have him start all over again. So I would definitely put Charles Cross at right tackle, even though I say he's the most true left tackle in this draft. I would say, nowadays that really doesn't matter about the right and left tackle. The whole
It's
thing
kind of
with
like in
left tackles and
basketball, how
pass
basketball has
protectors.
kind of shifted to almost a positionless type of thing.
Mhm.
I like it just happens in all the sports
You just
because
start your best five. Yeah.
you not only you start your best five, but like players are coming out more and more athletic than ever on both sides of the ball. Like they're
Right.
coming out more athletic, they're coming out stronger, they're coming out bigger. Like it's just what it is.
Yeah, and so I definitely see Charles Cross. being a fine right tackle. Everybody has this thing where left tackles are the pass protectors, right tackles are
And
the
I feel like
run
that's
the run
definitely kind of a
blockers.
dated type of idea.
It was, and it was a thing for a very long time. If you look back in history, teams usually run to the right side. That's just what happened. Right guards and right tackles were the run blockers, and obviously you had right-handed passers. Their blind side is the left, so obviously the left tackles and left guard would be more pass blockers. But nowadays, that's just not the case. You're seeing guys like Von Miller. Von Miller would line up on the right tackle. He lines up on the right tackle, and Bradley Chubb used to line up on the left tackle. So I mean, you get these star pass rushers line up on the right tackle all the time. There is no rule saying your best pass rusher needs to line up on the quarterback's blind side. It's not a rule. You could put him anywhere. So and nowadays the right tackle needs to be almost just as good and just as skilled as the left tackle. So it is still
You're
a
gonna
very
see the
coveted
contracts
position.
reflect that very soon too, because
Rare,
everybody's
yes,
contract is gonna go up.
yes. hmm
And then Carbonator says, "Who do you want at 7?" We'll get into that. I mean, like, there's a couple of dudes we've talked about a lot. Like Cross will be an option at 7. Um, in my opinion, Sauce is definitely an option at 7 at this point. We still don't know, and honestly, it's gonna be put on hold for a while. We still don't know what's gonna happen with Bradbury. I feel like we won't find out. I don't know. Just I have a feeling that it's really might end up being a draft day trade if we do trade him. I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. And if we don't trade him on draft day or the draft weekend, that we're going to release him sometime after. We'll see what happens there.
I
Um,
don't think. Here's the thing: if they don't trade him by the first round of the draft, there's no reason to trade him. In
well,
my
he's
opinion.
not going for a first round pick though.
No, I'm not saying for that reason. I'm saying that if
That's
you
why I
would
said
have to,
draft week. I
if they
could see it
skip
take
out,
every single
if
day
they,
of the draft.
but here's the thing: if they skip out on Sauce Gardner and then trade him, that's the problem.
Hmm.
That would be a big mistake. Big mistake. I mean, they would have to know that they're trading him
I mean,
during that
if
first
they
round,
take
but he
if
doesn't need
like
to
for
be in the
example,
first
if they
round.
take Sauce at 7 and Bradbury's still on the team, I feel like everybody knows. Okay, he's going to be
Yeah,
moved
he's
very
gone. He's
soon.
gone. But here's the thing: if they release James Bradbury later after the draft, or on day 2 or day 3, and they don't draft Sauce Gardner or they don't draft Stingley, that's a problem. In my opinion, that's a
Hmm.
problem because they should have already prepared for that. But if the Giants decide to keep James Bradbury, like honestly, it's gonna happen. They might just get rid of him, honestly. But if they decide to keep James Bradbury, I'm honestly looking at the possibility of Jermaine Johnson. I'm liking Jermaine Johnson that more and more. And if Kayvon Thibodeau is not there, and if obviously Aiden's not going to be there, but I like Jermaine Johnson. I wouldn't mind drafting. And it's funny because I think I see it on CBS Sports. I think it was CBS Sports where I saw it, and CBS Sports has the wonkiest freaking mock draft. But I was honestly thinking about it. I was like, although it could be a little bit of reach, you can't really trade down for Jermaine Johnson because you're going to lose him, and he's probably going to go in the top 10 anyway. So I wouldn't mind Jermaine Johnson
I
if
wouldn't mind Jermaine
that's where he needs
Johnson.
to
I mean,
go.
obviously, you guys know, and you're tired of me saying it. I would prefer Karlaftis, but another guy that I would really take now in the second round. Let me get this super chat. Is David Ojabo because he's gonna be injured. He's gonna drop there to the second round. So shout out to Tudo for the $5 super chat. He says, "Saluti Kush, drop by your office to pay our proper respects, and for all Giants fans around the world, slap all the stinky bird losers out the door. Forget about it. I appreciate it, Tudo." So David Ojabo is going to drop. The man tore his Achilles. At the very least, if he's going to be on a Cam Akers like freak recovery, it'll be 6 months. At most, it'll be like an entire year, right? I am completely with it if we take him with the second round pick and just say,
I'll
yo,
take it.
rest up. Let all the doctors handle your situation. Come back next year, and we're going to see what happens with you and
I
Aziz.
wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. Now, I'm seeing Giant, but Joe Shane really likes Walker. I will cry. I will cry. Here's the thing.
Travon Walker
I
is probably the only guy that if we pick, I would legitimately feel sad and
And
angry
you know
about.
what's crazy about this, Kush? You know what's crazy is I don't hate Travon Walker. I don't hate Travon Walker. But the more that people
People are gonna
overrate him,
listen. People are
the
gonna
more that
clown
people
me.
put him in the top 10,
Yeah, because
I
he's not a
dislike him
top
more
10
and
pick.
more.
He's not a top 10 pick. Listen, I've said it over and over again. Send him to the Eagles, and I'm not joking here. I'm being serious. This man will be a monster with the Eagles because they got like 3 or 4 pass rushers. He's gonna be in a rotation. He's not the number 1 guy. I don't think he'll be even the number 2 guy. He'll be like the number 3 guy at best. So he'll
Rotational,
he'll
yeah.
have tons of mentors. He'll have chances to develop. He'll have like a whole season to develop to work on all of his issues, which there's a lot of issues with him. Like the Eagles are one of the perfect landing spots for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, I am a fan at the end of the day. We're all fans, right? But it's not like I'm pulling this out of nowhere. I try to, like, we all try to have our opinions a little bit informed, right? And I will say it's paid off a couple of times. Most recently, because I want to get into the quarterbacks a little bit, but I'm gonna let you say your piece about Travon Walker. Most recently with Malik Willis, I've been saying for a minute now, send Malik Willis to a team like the Steelers, he'll be fine there because he'll have pieces around him. He won't be on a team with the Giants where he's gonna be killed from day one and he won't have a chance to develop. And look at what's happening now. So many people are saying Willis to the Steelers is a perfect fit. Steelers fans want him a lot after the pro day and things like that. But go ahead, you can do your Walker piece unless you want to get to the quarterbacks.
Yeah, well, yeah, Travon Walker, I don't hate him at all. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, man, when you just compare him to the other top pass rushers out there, I think Aiden Hutchinson is a game changer. I think Kayvon Thibodeau is raw, but a game changer. You look at Travon Walker, how is he even in close to the conversation of those guys? I mean, really, like even if you look at like George Karlaftis, Jermaine Johnson, maybe he's around their level, but he's not even close on the stratosphere of Aiden Hutchinson and
There's
Kayvon
now been
Thibodeau.
at least 2 or 3 mock drafts from like these big networks where
Yes,
I've seen him
he's
gone number
rising.
2 and I've seen
Yes,
him
to
gone over
Detroit.
Aiden Hutchinson and stuff and I'm like I don't
I've seen him
how.
drafted over Kayvon Thibodeau, and I said that's enough. That is enough. There is no way you look at the film. I'm telling you right now, anybody that thinks Travon Walker goes in the top 5 or even top 10, you look at the scouting combine way
Well,
too
no, I
much.
won't say
You
I
there
won't say that he won't because we saw Cleveland Farrell go in the top 5, but I'll say he shouldn't.
but here's the thing. Anybody that thinks he should go in the top 10, like I'm not talking about teams, I'm talking about like people, like the fans. And if you guys really think that Travon Walker is a top 10 talent in this draft, you pay attention to the scouting combine and potential way too much. He's 6'4", 272, or ran a 451. Since when has that ever mattered, guy? Let's look at the real.
Bro, let's
The
look at
scouting
Devin Lloyd.
combine is
Devin Lloyd
ridiculous.
ran a 4.7, and anybody who at least scouted, looked at tape, whatever you want to call it, and read up on him knows that he doesn't run a 4.7 on the field. His game speed is not 4.7. He's a lot faster than that.
And the thing is, I guess the scouting combine should do nothing but help your draft stock a bit and kind of give some people more confidence in your skill set, but it should never rise you up that high from a like bottom late first rounder to the second overall pick in the draft. I mean, there's no way Travon Walker is even close to the level of Kayvon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson. And for the pure fact that some people have Detroit taking him at 2 over Kayvon Thibodeau is absolutely asinine.
I mean, but
I
if it
can't see it.
happens, listen, I am with when the comments here, somebody said it, that say, let them take him number 2, Jake, so that it guarantees us a tackler's KT. If it somehow happens, yeah, we're getting one of
Yeah,
the top 2
I
tackles,
would just
or we're
hate it for
getting Kayvon
Detroit.
Thibodeau.
I would just hate it for Detroit. I would feel so bad for Detroit if they went ahead and got Walker over Thibodeau. Like I'm a football fan, you know, and that's just me. I hate seeing over like reached picks. Besides if it's coming from the Eagles or the Cowboys or the Commanders. But damn, if Detroit were to go to Travon Walker, man. I mean, let's
So
be
if
real
KT
here.
somehow drops to us, man, but in a perfect world scenario,
I see. I'm seeing a bunch of mock drafts, and like I said, these mock drafts, these draft analysts,
I
they really
really
don't have
I'm
much of
of
a
the
clue.
belief that the closer we get to the draft, the more and more the mock drafts that like these expert analysts makes is just to get people to click on them.
Yeah. Honestly, and if I'm being honest, like a lot of people are saying there's no way Kayvon Thibodeau goes past 5, and I agree with that. I cannot see. If you watch Kayvon Thibodeau, I told you about Kayvon Thibodeau when I first started watching how critical I am of him. That does not take away from the fact where I wouldn't take him at 5, or I wouldn't take him at 2, or I wouldn't take him at 3 or 4. I would definitely take Kayvon Thibodeau if I'm a team in the top 5. Although I'm very critical of him, I'm just saying that he's very raw. He has a lot of things to work on, but my God, is he a better prospect than Travon Walker right off the bat? And he's a raw prospect. There's no reason why Kayvon Thibodeau should drop even
And
even
my
to the
main issue with
past
Walker,
the top 5.
and this goes back to why I said he fits so well with the Eagles, is that he's not an edge rusher yet. He's more of an inside pass rusher as of right now. That's where he was most
Walker,
successful. Yeah, like against guards, against interior linemen. Against tackles, like whenever his power move, which is he has one power move, it's like a
The
thump.
bull rush.
Whenever that didn't work out, they just anchored themselves and he can't get around them because he can't bend to save his life. The guy has no bend. He
He
has no
can't
type of
bend.
no type of
He's stiff.
elasticity. He's very
He
stiff,
has
which is why
stiff
I'm like,
hips.
put him in a great rotation like the Eagles, and he'll develop that over time. With the Giants, there's nobody like that for him to learn from, and he'll be thrown into fire immediately. And I don't know, man. I don't know if he'll succeed. I really don't think he will succeed if he's thrown into the fire immediately like that.
Like I said, ever since the combine, he ran a 4.5 140. People are going crazy because he's 6'5", 272. I don't care. I don't care. You're gonna see a bunch of guys. How many guys test well at the combine and they're still graded out as third, fourth round
And
picks?
how many
Are you
guys test
serious?
terrible at the combine or even at 40-yard dashes, and we see them do way better? Jamar Chase last year had a bad
Yeah.
40-yard dash for a wide receiver, and he's like the fastest wide
Yeah.
receiver in
Did
the
he run
NFL.
like a 4 or 6, something like
Yeah,
that? Or
like a
maybe
4.5 or a
worse?
4.6, something
Yeah,
crazy.
4.5, 4.6, and people were kind of upset about that. And then you look at Cooper Cup, who ran a 4.7. I remember that day live because people thought he would run a better 40. Listen, the scouting combine, man. If you guys really think Travon Walker is a top 10 talent, you're looking at the combine too much. And there's no listen. If you ask any Travon Walker fan why he should go in the top
The
in the
funny
top
thing
10,
is, every time
the
I try to
first thing they're
talk,
gonna say is
yeah,
the combine. The first thing
every
they're gonna
time
say
I
is
try to
the
talk to
combine.
somebody and I'm trying to see, all right, what do you see? Like, what does he do against tackles that gives you confidence? They don't got anything because they haven't tried
You
to
don't.
go and look into
Oh
it.
my gosh. When I put that tweet out there where I was like, guys, how on earth do you see Travon Walker as a first round pick? I thought I was gonna get like massive scrutiny. There are people that agree with me. I'm like, oh, I'm surprised. Thank God. Because like I watched 4 or 5 games of this guy and I couldn't find one reason why he should be taken in the top 15. Do I think he's a potential first round pick? Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I think he's bottom first rounder. Like I think the Arizona Cardinals would be a great fit for him at 23. I could see him going there. But Travon Walker in freaking top 2, why? Why? And then I had like
And
Travon Walker
honestly,
fans
yeah,
going
no,
off
that's
about
the
it.
only reason we're even talking about this right now. Is the only reason that I've even gone on the truth crusade with Travon is because I've seen crazy mocks of him being taken above both Aiden and Kayvon. And I'm like, all right, this got to stop. Y'all need to
Mhm.
chill. I don't think it should happen. If it does happen, man, oh man, would that blow Cleveland Farrell out the water? Because you got two guys right now that could be great. So getting back to the Giants, let's talk about these quarterback pro days. How would you feel if the Giants end up taking Malik Willis at 5 or 7?
Oh man. If people think I hate Malik Willis, people think I already said it. Malik Willis is the best quarterback in this draft, okay? I'm up with Malik Willis. I'm really down on Kenny Pickett, okay? Everybody knows this. But I don't want him coming to New York. I don't think it's the best situation for him right now. I really don't. And I know, even Mara said it. We did everything to fail Daniel Jones, and unfortunately, that just sucks to say. But we failed Daniel Jones, and it's probably time to move on. I would like to build this team first before we get another quarterback in here and potentially ruin his career as well. And people think like, oh no, but he's great. He's very mobile. I don't want to put all that stock. I don't want to. I don't want to tell a rookie. I don't want to sit here and draft a rookie and tell him I think your skill set is good enough to kind of band-aid all of our problems. So we're going to start you out there and just we'll see what you can do. How are you going to ask a
But here's
quarterback
the
to do
thing,
that?
right? In the situation where if the Giants take Malik, I see it playing out as every other team that had Tyrod Taylor on their roster. He starts initially, and then somehow throughout the season, the other
Malik
guy comes
Willis
in.
comes in.
Yeah.
Malik Willis, I mean,
So I
I
don't think
can
he'll
understand.
start right away.
I just think that this team has so many problems, man. I just think this team has so many problems that they need to fix that we are just not in a position to take a quarterback in this draft class. They're all developmental, man. They all are developmental. And if any team that takes a quarterback in this draft needs to be ready to rebuild around them quickly. It needs to be ready for that because um when it comes to any of these quarterbacks, none of them are ready to start day one. I've never seen a quarterback class where none of these quarterbacks are ready to start day one. And we may see a quarterback that comes into his own this year because it's going to happen. It happens every year. Like even a Kenny Pickett, if he winds up starting sometime this year, he may ball out. It is what it is. Some rookie quarterbacks have success. I'm not going to say they're all going to suck. Some of them may have go on to have good careers, but I've never seen a quarterback class as bad. Never where it's full of potential and not anywhere close to day one talent.
Hmm.
Like I like Malik Willis. I like Malik Willis. I like Matt Corral. I like Desmond Ritter. I think he's okay. I don't want any of them. I
Well, you
don't
don't
want any
like
of them
Malik
yet.
Willis. Desmond Ritter. You love Desmond Ritter. Shout out to AJ
Whatever.
Kareem in here, Timothy Firth, Super Colite, LJ, Hit Squad, and Justin. Justin coming in with a little bit of a scoop. I'm sure a lot of you guys know Justin Pennick. If you don't, go check him out over at Talking Giants and give them a follow on Twitter as well. And Justin, I'm definitely going to try and have you on Young Guns in one of these following weeks before the draft. I
Justin.
should have gotten it done earlier, but was just way too busy. He says Dan Duggan was on their show and said Davis Webb is likely to make the 53-man roster because he was in line for the Bills quarterback coach position. So between Tyrod's 2023 salary, you would have to trade Jones. What are you talking about in the Malik Willis? Obviously, if we take Malik Willis, I think that would have been obvious if we take Malik Willis that Daniel Jones would be traded.
He's talking about no, but he's talking about having Davis Webb on the roster. So if Davis Webb winds up being on the roster,
Yeah, no, I believe I saw a couple tweets out of them. If I read their tweets correctly, basically we're gonna run with 3 quarterbacks this year. Is what they're trying to say.
So
Yeah.
so Jones,
So
Tyrod, and
Jones,
Davis, right?
Tyrod, and Davis, and then if we take Malik, then Jones got to be gone.
Yeah.
Well,
You
which
have
I was
to.
like, I thought that would have been implied. Definitely correct us if I'm wrong on that one, Justin. And I'll say this. I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I believe that the best situation and the best, way to do this is to build a team around the quarterback before you take them. But I wouldn't be against if we do take them. Part of it is that trusting I was talking about earlier. I don't want to say that it's blind faith, but at least for 1 year, I'm gonna be like, let me see what you guys do and let's see how it's pan out. But also, the staff we have is perfect for both situations. It's perfect for getting a new QB in here and developing them because we have guys that work with developmental QBs, who are the best developmental QBs in recent history. And it's also perfect for trying to get whatever little juice Daniel Jones has left. So I could see both of them happening. It's just a matter of don't make the same mistake that Dave Gettleman made. And Ash brought this up on the call-in show last night. When we drafted Daniel, he didn't have his number 1 receiver in Odell because we already traded Odell. And to this day, we still haven't replaced that production, right? The production and having a legitimate number 1 receiver on the roster, we still haven't replaced it. Gettleman tried to make an offensive line around him, but ultimately he failed, right? Like those are the 2 most important things if you're going to have a rookie QB, especially somebody that needs work, that the Giants can't fail at. And this kind of goes back to Charles Cross a little bit as well. If we take Malik, I'd probably 100% want the Giants to spend that 7th pick on whatever tackle is on the board. If Cross is still there.
Yeah, I completely agree. And here's the thing: if like you just said, if the Giants do go quarterback here, and I would want it to be Willis or nobody. Don't you dare take Kenny Pickett, number 5 overall. I will.
For those of you
flip
that
my
don't
table.
know, Kid Blue is a Desmond Ritter number 1 fan and Kenny Pickett hater, bro.
Desmond Ritter's for the memes, okay? But Malik Willis would have to be the pick. If it's Kenny Pickett, I will flip a table. And then at 7, you would have to take an offensive tackle. You would have to. And then go from there, right? You would obviously be skipping out on a potential pass rusher, on a potential cornerback. So you would go on from there. Now, I wouldn't be upset. I don't know. I wouldn't be upset that we take a quarterback in this year's draft. I know there's going to be a lot of teams wanting Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. I get that, but I just want in on the sweepstakes, okay? I want in on it. But if the Giants do go Malik Willis in this draft, Daniel Jones is gone. He's not playing for the Giants this year. There's no way. You're not going to have 2 quarterbacks compete with each other in Tyrod Taylor and Daniel Jones, and then
And
say Daniel Jones wins it.
Like Justin
You
just
know?
brought up the salary thing as well.
Well, yeah, not only that, just say Daniel Jones wins it. Listen, your eyes are already on another quarterback who you just drafted in the first round, who you're tying yourself to. That's something we got to talk about as well. But let me just hold that for a second. If the Giants, draft Malik Willis, their eyes are obviously on the future with Malik Willis. They have no reason to have any sort of loyalty or any sort of commitment to Daniel Jones. You get rid of him. You have to get rid of him and have Tyrod Taylor start, and then Malik Willis will come into his own. Daniel Jones is gone if Malik Willis is drafted. That's just he's not starting for the Giants. He's not even going to be on the Giants, Daniel Jones. So there's that. If the Giants draft Malik Willis, and I say Malik Willis, like I said, because he better be the only quarterback we draft. If the Giants draft Malik Willis, they are tying themselves. They're tying themselves and they're tying their jobs to Malik Willis because drafting a quarterback in the top 10 will lose you your job, especially in your first year. That's a ballsy move, man. And especially in this quarterback class. I could understand you go and like draft a Justin Herbert in your first year as GM, draft a Joe Burrow in your first year as GM, drafting a Malik Willis is in your first year as GM, or any developmental quarterback for that matter, is a potential death wish, potentially. Now, the reward would be insane, right? To successfully develop a quarterback. I have trust in Brian Dable. Trust me. If we draft Malik Willis, I have trust that Brian Dable would try to get him on the right path. But you are tying yourselves to that quarterback, and the success of that quarterback will mean your job. Very early on in your GMing and coaching career, right? Because Brian Dable, first time as coach, Joe Shane, first time as GM. These are first timers, okay? Tying yourself to a quarterback like this so early on, it can cause a lot of problems. A lot of problems. We're talking, if the DJ thing repeats with Malik Willis, think of this team is going to go farther down than it did than when Dave Gettleman left it. Honestly, you're setting your franchise back even more.
Timothy says, should the Giants trade Daniel Jones in the 173rd pick for the Panthers for the 6th and 144th and select Kenny Pickett 6th overall from Pittsburgh?
Oh, God.
Well, you already heard KB's whole rant on Kenny Pickett, so I feel like that answers that question. New York Giants showing rumors. What's up, man? Harrison Jolly in here, bro. How you doing? I agree. And he says, Kid Blue giving me Officer Martinez vibes. Hub knows what I'm talking about. I do know what you're talking about. He does kind of give. When I first saw Officer Martinez in the theaters, I was like, yo, he kind of does look like Gio a little bit, like an older, taller, more full and built version of yourself.
What are you trying to talk about, man? I'm built. I'm just playing. What are you talking about?
You didn't watch the Batman yet, did you?
No, I did not yet. So do not spoil.
Officer Martinez is a character in there.
Officer Martinez. Okay, let me look at it. Let me look at the pictures. Officer Martinez.
This man gonna call us racist, bro.
What is he, like Mexican or something? Hello.
Did you hear the name, bro?
Hello, my friend. Oh, hell no.
Bro, he does look like you. Stop it.
No, because the mustache, that's what it is, too.
And we don't want to get too off topic. Exactly. Bro, I can see it, bro. Take away the mustache.
He has the nose. He has my big nose. Yeah, I can see it. You know what? That's a fair. I've seen worse. I've seen worse. And you know what? I'll take it.
Listen, for those of you that haven't seen it, man, The Batman was a really good movie. I loved it. I can't wait for you to see it, man. Just go out and watch it. It was a good movie.
I gotta go see it.
Now, do not do what Fizz Vegas did. All right, I haven't had a chance to clown this man on it yet. He went in with expectations of it being, like the action-packed superhero movie. And to be honest with you, it had enough action. Like, I went and I saw it with my mom, and she was like, yo, it had more than enough action. But first and foremost, it's a crime thriller film. It's like Detective Batman. It's straight up a murder mystery. And they let us know that it's not like they fooled us. All the marketing, with the Riddler and stuff was like, it's about to be a mystery.
It's the Riddler.
Like, they made it known. They did it. It's not like they fooled anybody. So you need to go in with that expectation. You're going in to see a crime murder mystery / thriller film. If any of you guys have seen the movie Seven before, it has a lot of vibes from that movie. Like, that's what you're going, a very noir feel to it as well. But it has enough action. It's just not like, like Avengers level action or something like that. And like, you're going in, like, DC's going back to their roots of, dark and grittiness anyway. So don't go in with that expectation either of, comedy and, lightheartedness and whatnot. So, yeah. Going back to the Giants, now actually to the NFL draft, I'm going to keep it real with you, KB. I could definitely see Malik being going to number 2 at Detroit, man. And I think that it's a really good situation.
We talked about it on our mock draft.
You know why it's a really good situation? They have one of the best O-lines in the league. Sneaky good O-lines in the league. So he'll be protected. He won't be asked to be a Band-Aid in that sense. And he could sit behind Jared, man. Jared isn't a terrible quarterback to sit behind.
Yeah, Jared gets a lot of bad rap because he's the number 1 overall pick. But I like Jared Goff. I don't think he's bad at all. But I think he's just above a little slightly above average. I would say average actually. He's average quarterback, but he doesn't. I don't know. I don't think he'll lose you games. But I think what Dan Campbell is building over there in Detroit could be potentially good for Malik Willis. The only thing is that the whole Detroit thing that's been going on ever since their existence, with star players retiring in their primes and or leaving or never being able to get it, being the only reason why they win. You see Matt Stafford and Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson. They're all star players that just couldn't get anything done in Detroit. I would hate that for Malik Willis if he were to be drafted there and he would fail. But if he were to be drafted there and succeed, man, that would be a story. And I would like that. I wouldn't mind that at all. And it makes a lot of sense. Remember we were doing our mock drafts and I had Detroit's pick and I took Malik Willis second overall just because I've seen it on a lot of mock drafts and it makes more and more sense. I get that he's not ready to be a number 2 overall type pick there. But Detroit has the assets to have him. I mean, we were just talking about the Giants not having the assets to kind of have a developmental quarterback. I think the Detroit Lions have that. They have Jared Goff right there. He is the
They have a
starter right
great.
now.
They have somebody that's gonna
Yeah.
be a great mentor. Shout out to Nate
Yeah.
in here, by the way.
Mhm.
They have a legit offensive line. They have a up and coming receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, man, Detroit did such a great job of replacing Kenny
Didn't
Galladay.
they got
man.
another free? Didn't they get another free agent?
They got DJ
receiver?
Chark. So you
DJ
have
Chark, yeah,
you have
yeah, yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, and man, I love that man last year just because of his
DeAndre
name, bro.
Swift
That's
is
a
there.
name. They got
DeAndre
a good
Swift
running
is
back
there.
in DeAndre
Yeah.
Swift. They could
Yeah.
bolster those weapons. I do feel like they're gonna spend this draft kind of revamping the defense because what's
Mhm.
his name? They released their edge rusher and
Trey
great
Flowers.
great edge rushing class to replace him with. Maybe they revamp their secondary a little bit with. I don't know what's going on with Jeff Okuda, middle linebacking core. Like it's a nice spot, bro. Like honestly, if Dan Campbell could just be a average coach, Detroit should be a good team next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Malik Willis would. I think that would be a good team for Malik Willis to go to. Honestly, so yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, we said it. Ian, the Lions are actually have a sneaky good offensive line. So yeah, I would
I
definitely.
like that that we briefly talked about the Batman and 9 people dropped out the stream, bro. That's
Oh man,
hilarious.
I was we were talking about a lot of people just think I don't like Malik Willis at all, and I just don't want to see him succeed, or whatever the case may be. I don't know why people would think that, or anybody that doesn't like it. I've seen it on Twitter. Anybody that has any sort of criticism on Malik Willis,
Can we
you're
address that
instantly
for a
met,
second? No, let's
instantly
address that
met
for a
with
second.
yeah, it's just crazy.
I think you were about to go somewhere else. I was like,
Go ahead.
we
keep
might
going.
have different things, but what I want to address is Giants fans hating on Malik Willis
Mhm.
purely because they don't want him. It's like, yo, don't sort of push one guy down to lift another
Right.
up, because that's what
Right,
they're doing.
right.
They're pushing Malik Willis down
Or
to
even,
lift
or
Daniel
even,
Jones up.
not even that. Even if they even like Daniel Jones, just don't push down a guy just because you don't want him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Acknowledge that he can be like. I acknowledge Malik Willis is the best quarterback of this draft. I don't want him. I acknowledge everything about it. Oh, Josh Reynolds too. Yeah, I like Josh Reynolds. I wanted him for the Giants last year, but he's there in Detroit too. So
he was on
Mhm.
the Rams before, right? Am I tripping?
yeah, he's like the best 4th receiver in the league, dude. That
The
dude's a
best fourth
monster.
receiver in the league.
Yeah, for whatever reason, I mean, I don't know if he'll ever get a chance to be like a number 2 guy. I think he could be a good number 2, but I wanted Josh Reynolds last year, man. But yeah,
And then now it's going back a little bit to the general NFL here. Well, still a little bit Giants rated, but even if Detroit doesn't take the QB, even if we don't take the QB, these pro days did a really good job for us either way because those picks became more valuable, 5 and 7. So when we talk about trade down scenarios, we mentioned that the Falcons traded Matt Ryan to the Indianapolis Colts earlier in the stream. That was like the first 10 to 15 minutes of the stream in case you guys missed it. Are the Falcons going to, be one of those teams that calls up and trades for us? Steelers, like I was talking about earlier, are their team that comes up and calls and try to trade with us? Or I have a feeling that this is very possible as well. A lot of these teams that need quarterbacks might just wait until next year. They literally might just wait until next year because
that's
both
the
of the
problem.
teams I mentioned,
Mhm.
they got Marcus Mariota and Mitch Trubisky respectively, which could carry their team for a year if they want to draft somebody else.
Here's the thing. I think it's all smoke from the Steelers. I don't know what's going on with the Falcons. I think it's all smoke from the Steelers. They just had dinner with Malik Willis as well. I think they really want a quarterback in this draft. There are talks of them loving. They are in love with Malik Willis, and there are talks of them liking Kenny Pickett too. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense because their scouts probably know a lot about Kenny Pickett because they're from Pittsburgh. So they probably did a lot of work on Kenny Pickett. I think they're going to get a quarterback this draft, man. I think the Steelers are that serious about it. But you're right. Teams like the Saints, teams like who just re-signed Jameis Winston, they really don't have a need
I could
for
see
a
the
first-round
Seahawks
quarterback.
100% saying, "Yo,
Seahawks.
let's just go with whatever we do this year and go into
Mhm.
next year."
Yeah, You're going to have a lot of these teams that are honestly, you're going to have a lot of these teams that I want the Giants to do and wait till next year. A lot of these teams are going to try to do that as well. So it's going to be, sweepstakes for those two top tier quarterbacks. We don't know if any of those, if Spencer Rattler is going to make some type of appearance and try to be that third quarterback,
Like
for next year.
there's always gonna be a change in quarterback rankings. We're a year away from next year's draft. But
Yeah.
the fact that we have two guys that are considered even better than most of the QBs in the current
All of them.
crop,
All of them.
right? Yeah,
All of them.
most to all, right? That's the general consensus. Tells you that it
Mhm.
is going to be, probably a better one.
Yeah. That's why a lot of teams might wait. That's why I want the Giants to wait. But I'm hoping a lot of teams just say, "Oh, I want one of these developmental guys right now." I really hope that happens. But
All right, let's talk
Mhm.
Baker Mayfield because it came up that question in the chat by Sister27 literally came right on time. I kind of feel bad. Me and Kay were talking about before the stream began. I kind of
Mhm.
feel bad for Baker Mayfield, bro.
I
Like,
do. I
number
do.
one overall pick, taken to a team that had 0 wins and 1 win in the past 2 years before he got there. Helped that team become a respectable franchise. Like, if you think Baker didn't have a hand in the Browns becoming a respectable franchise, I feel like you're lying to yourself. Help
Mhm.
them win some games, help them get their first playoff win in 20 years. And he's not like I kind of agree with the sentiment that I'm just not sure if Baker is going to win you a Super Bowl. But before his rookie contract is up, completely give up on the dude. Trade for Deshaun Watson, who talent-wise is miles ahead of him, but like we're talking real life, might not even play this upcoming season. That's just like how out they are on Baker. And it seemed like from the rest of the league that nobody wants the guy. And I'm just like, damn, yo, like that sucks. Cause he's not that bad. He's not that bad to the point where I feel like no team should be, should have zero interest. Where there's like zero teams that have interest, I mean.
Here's the problem with Baker Mayfield. There's a slight disconnect here with Baker Mayfield. He is that good that he has to be a starter, but he's not good enough for a team to really throw out some trade value at him instead of just getting a rookie quarterback and developing with that quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So teams that need a quarterback, the Saints, the Steelers, the Falcons, the list goes on and on. They may, they obviously need a quarterback, but they are honestly in a position where they can wait to draft a developmental quarterback, build them up, and then have them as their future. They don't want a guy like Baker Mayfield, who is good. Don't get me wrong. He's good. He's way better, way good enough to be a starter and not a backup. He can't be a backup in this league, especially with if the money he wants, his agent just not going to allow that to happen. He needs starter money. He needs to be a starter, but teams are not going to want him to make him a starter. Same thing with Jameis, like what happened to Jameis before he got signed with the Saints. He was out there in free agency for a while because one, he was the leading passer the year prior, and two, people were not very thrilled with the 30 for 30 that he put up. So they were at a little bit of a kind of a crossroads here with, hey, he's good enough that he has to be a starter. He needs to get some starter money, but he's not good enough to be like a franchise quarterback. Same situation with Baker Mayfield, and he's gonna stick out there in free agency a little bit until him and his agent decide to lower the wanted money, and he'll sign for somewhere and then compete for a starting job somewhere. I think right now maybe it would obviously be a trade. It's not free agency, so it would obviously have to be a trade. So I think the trade value has to be there. I think the contract has to be there, and then they go on from there. But he'll find somewhere to go. I don't think he'll be sitting out this year. But he'll
Mm-hmm.
find somewhere to go, but it may take longer than expected.
Yeah, Cushmaster, you are right. Supporting businesses like supporting small businesses, supporting the Helming KB is like supporting small businesses.
Yes,
I'll
sir.
say this about Mayfield. You said he can't be a backup. I'm not gonna lie to you. I see exactly that happening. I literally see a repeat of the Mr. Trubisky situation, except that Baker is way better than Mr.
I
Trubisky
think
in
he's
my
way
opinion.
better. Yeah, I think he's way
I feel like
better.
everybody should say that Baker Mayfield is way better than Mr. Trubisky, but I can legitimately see Trubisky went to the Bills, was a backup for a year. Now he has a starting job, unless the Steelers obviously, go out there, trade up and take a QB. I don't know where he's going to go be a backup at, but there's no interest from anybody right now. He could very well end up being a backup somewhere, man. Like, what was hilarious to me is that for the first time in NFL history, we saw mutual disinterest when Ian Rappaport tweeted that out. He was like, there is mutual disinterest between Baker Mayfield and the Carolina Panthers. I was like, haven't
Disinterest.
heard that one.
Yeah, I've never seen a mutual disinterest where it's like, hey, you want to go to Carolina? No. Hey, Carolina, you want Baker Mayfield? No.
right?
That's funny.
Oh, does he
That's
go to
just funny.
Seattle? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm really trying to think about it. So I'm
I
like,
don't think he
I,
fits in Seattle. I don't know. I
bro,
don't
that's
know.
what I'm saying. He could very well end up as a backup.
I thought he fit well in Indianapolis, but they obviously Indianapolis made a better decision with Matt Ryan. Well, it depends how you look at it because Baker Mayfield's younger, he can give you more years. But if Indianapolis honestly feel like they can compete this year, Matt Ryan was the option. So Baker Mayfield. I mean, I can't decide. I can't think of another team where Baker Mayfield would actually go and be the starter and make some starter money and compete. I can't see it.
No, because
We're
for me,
running out of
there
options.
there there are two teams, but it won't happen. One of them is the Steelers. He's not going to the Steelers because the Steelers, like the Browns, are not going to trade with the Steelers, and they already got a guy in
Right.
Mitch and probably going to get somebody else through a draft. And the second one is the 49ers, but the 49ers have Trey Lance lined up if they trade Jimmy G. And the thing
That's another thing. Where the hell did Jimmy G
gonna go? Exactly. It's not like the Browns are gonna trade for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Okay, now I have
but
a
he has to
question
go
for
somewhere
you.
else.
Now I have a question for you. With the lack of teams even looking for a free agent quarterback or looking for another veteran quarterback right now, because honestly, most of these teams are probably looking towards the draft. Who would you prioritize, Jimmy G or Baker Mayfield?
It's a great question, because here's the thing.
Because one of them might be out. I have a job.
Here's the legitimate thing, right? People don't like it or like to hear it, and even I don't like to say it. It hurts me to say it. But Jimmy Garoppolo's a winner, bro. He's somehow, some way.
It's the truth.
He wins football games. It's the truth.
Okay, here's the thing.
man always finds a way to win.
He's got to be wearing some magical undergarments or something like that.
He has a horseshoe in there, like in his cleats. He got a 4-leaf clover stuck behind his ear or something.
I don't know what it is, but you watch Jimmy G, and there's nothing impressive. But somehow the whole team just
I'm gonna say this right now.
On God mode, and they win games.
Exactly. I'm gonna say this right now. Jimmy Garoppolo is not a good quarterback, bro. He is not a good quarterback. All right.
He adds like plus 50 on every player's traits,
it's like
dude.
you're playing a video game. He's not a good quarterback, but it's like you're playing a video game. Whenever he's out there in playoff games, the rest of the team, the defense, they have like plus 50 to every single of their stats. They're playing on the best level they've ever played of in their entire life. They pull out close games. They beat Karen Frogers, consistently. It's ridiculous. It's just, what is going on? What does he bring to the table?
I have no idea, dude. And he's an excellent game manager. I will say he's an excellent, but he's not a game changer at all to have them going to Super Bowls and such and freaking playoff runs. Like, all right, imagine this. Okay. Well, not imagine this. It happened. When he was drafted by New England, and then he wound up starting because Tom Brady deflated footballs. Jimmy G went 4-0, and he was undefeated until he went to the Niners and lost his first game. If I'm not mistaken, he was undefeated when going to the Niners.
Yeah.
He got a huge major contract. He got a contract that most quarterbacks dream of, and he only started like six to 9 games or something like that, which is insane. But he won all of them. And then he goes to the Niners. He loses some games. He gets hurt. Whatever. He does that a lot. But he still makes it to two. He makes it to a Super Bowl. He makes it to a freaking Super Bowl.
He cost them the Super Bowl at the same time.
He cost him the Super Bowl. He
cost him the Super Bowl.
He did do that. But there is where the luck runs out with Jimmy G. And that's the predicament, right? He's a winner. He gets people to win, but he's not enough to put you over the edge. It's just like there's such a big freaking cluster thing, with freaking Jimmy G and Baker Mayfield. Where the hell do these guys go? Where do they honestly rank, and how do you prioritize these guys is honestly a huge question mark.
I want to say shout out to Nate. Thank you for coming in, man. Thank you for handling all the spams. He got to go. Have a good night, man. And Joseph is in here as well. I'm going to direct this question to you, KB, because they hear me speak literally day in, day out. They hear you for like once or twice a week. So your Rod says, Blue, have you ever taken a look at Willis's tape? If you did, what's your thoughts? I want to know.
Okay, Willis, right? Malik Willis. Okay, looking at Malik Willis, there's a lot of flaws. There's a lot left to be desired with Malik Willis. I like him. I honestly think he's the best quarterback in this draft. There's just so much to dislike as well.
Well, first talk about what you like first.
Okay, what I like his obviously his athleticism, his ability to escape the pocket and just make a play, right? You've seen it in the Senior Bowl, you've seen it on his play, in his play at Liberty. Okay, he knows how to extend the play. So in a situation, say he's with the Giants, right? Situations where guys can't get open, he's the guy that can escape the pocket and run and to get our first down on a third down, right? He's the guy that keep moving the chains. I like that about him. I like the ability that he could extend the play. I honestly like his throwing motion. I like his how smoothly the ball comes out. He throws tight spirals, and that's something that's really overlooked when it comes to quarterbacks. How tight you could throw a spiral consistently. You know, guys
Eli
like
never had a pretty spiral, bro. He always had an
Eli
ugly
never.
ball, bro. He had like
But
a
here's the thing:
knuckleball
Eli made up for it with his wits, with his
and
IQ.
clutchness.
Yeah, clutchness. That's the one thing I will tell you. I hated the way Eli threw the ball. I hated it. He never
Bro,
threw a
it's
spiral.
like even in his
Never
prime,
threw a
bro, I was like,
spiral.
that's such an ugly ball.
Never threw a spiral. And the same thing I can say about Lamar Jackson. But when it comes to Malik Willis, it's constantly a laser, constantly a laser. And I love that about his throwing power. His arm is insane. I love it. The potential is there when you have throw power. And here's the thing: you can have a great arm. Jay Cutler had a great arm. Okay, he had one of the best arms the NFL has ever seen in his time. Jay Cutler did, but he's obviously not going to go back down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all
It
time.
was it was football IQ, it was instincts, it was decision
Right,
making, and most
and
importantly,
that.
at least in the Jay Cutler situation, it was like
Mhm.
willingness to work. He was just lazy,
Yeah,
bro.
he was just lazy. With Malik Willis, it's very similar. He has the tools similar like a Jay Cutler did. Can he put it all together? Because looking at Malik Willis, he could throw an absolute dime on the run at one point and throw a complete duck on a curl route that goes the other way for a touchdown. It's the problem with Malik Willis is decision making and second guessing himself, not making the right reads and being inaccurate. Okay. He has a great arm. He has so much of a great arm. He has no clue how to control it. He overthrows guys all the time. Overthrows guys all the time. I was gonna say something. The football hangs in the air a little too long, and too much trajectory on the balls. He puts too much air on it, and that to me is a lot to work on. And some quarterbacks can't come back from that, man.
And
But I'm not
let
saying
me
he
ask you
won't.
this, right?
I'm not saying he won't, but some quarterbacks can't come back from that.
I'm gonna pose a question to you that I'm sure every single front office asks themselves year in year out, and that every football fan should actually ask themselves as well. When it comes, what Lamar Santos? Okay, he says Jackson doesn't have a tight spiral, but Lamar Santos says, "Hey, you probably killing it out there on the flag football fields, bro." But so this is the question, right?
Good job,
When it
Lamar.
comes to a quarterback prospect, would you rather a guy that has all the mental tools, aka decision making, the football IQ, you know what I'm saying, the instincts, the
Good
pocket
question.
awareness, but sucks with the physical tools, or the opposite, a guy that has all the
Ooh.
physical tools but doesn't have the mental tools? Because guess what? There's a reason they always go for a guy with the physical over the mental, at least in recent years.
Yeah.
Because if you have a guy that has no physical but all the mental, what you kind of have is Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman was people are going to find this hilarious. He was a very smart quarterback. The reason he threw so many interceptions and the reason he failed is because he had a noodle arm. He literally could not deliver the throws he was trying to make. That's why Nathan Peterman failed. So
That
it's like you could try and coach up the mental side. You could try and teach them the mental side, right? That's why they go for potential so much, in my opinion.
Yeah, and no problem, Raj, no problem for the answer. But that's a fantastic question because every draft, that's always the question: are you going to sacrifice the physicals for the wits, or the IQ, or the IQ for the physicals? Fantastic question, especially with where the quarterback position is kind of leaning towards now. It kind of relies more on the physical aspect, and of course,
Because
the IQ things takes
I'm
into
glad
play
you
as
brought that
well.
up because I was going to
Mhm.
say if we were to go back 15, 20 years ago, it would probably been the opposite because, deep passing wasn't as prolific as it is now. You could rely on slants and crossings a bit more.
Right, right,
You've
right.
seen that shift recently because, well, I already said this too. Players are getting more athletic, they're getting faster, they're getting stronger. So if you don't have the physical arm strength to deliver it to your receiver fast enough, there's a corner that's fast enough to intercept it, just like Nathan Peterman, like I was saying
Yeah.
earlier.
I would say my best answer I would give you is I would say is how bad is their IQ or how bad is their physical traits? Because we look at a great example like Eli. Eli was one of the smartest guys out there, even though he didn't look smart. He was one of the smartest guys out there, not physically gifted. Eli had a great arm. Eli was somewhat accurate. Eli had a terrible throwing motion. Eli had decent footwork, all right, but he got the job done. He was a winner. Guys that with like straight up physical traits. I guess I would throw like Patrick Mahomes out there. Physically, Patrick Mahomes can throw a football anyway. Patrick Mahomes could throw a football behind his back and he'll still, be 30 yards downfield and accurately. He's just able to do that. It really depends on how far their best trait takes them and how much their worst trait brings them down. That's really the honest question. But if I were to tell you, my answer, I'm going to give you a straight up answer. I would say I would take the IQ.
In today's NFL?
I don't know. Man, I keep second
Bro,
guessing.
I'm telling you because taking the IQs in today's NFL is Nathan Peterman, and somebody just brought up another good example is Jake Fromm.
Here's the thing. With IQ, you could scheme around their talent level. You could scheme that. With IQ, you could scheme around their talent level.
Are they winning you a Super Bowl, KB? That's the end goal.
It all depends. It all depends on how well you scheme around their physical traits. Because here's the thing: you can have all the physical traits in the world. If you can't get the playbook down, if you can't get the schemes down, it means nothing. It absolutely means nothing. And Jay Cutler's one great example. It absolutely means nothing. If you have a guy that's very, very smart and instinctive, I mean, you bring up Nathan Peterman, that's probably the worst case scenario. A guy like with no physical traits at all, you can possibly scheme up something to help your quarterback and help him with his flaws. And if he's smart enough to understand that and is smart enough to overcome that, then I think it'll be just fine. There's a lot of quarterbacks with a lot of flaws who can do a lot of things. Drew Brees was great physically, right? But he was not very mobile and he's very short. They were able to scheme around that, and he was a very smart quarterback, able to scheme around that and help him win. And he's obviously been one of the best quarterbacks in football. Guys like that, man, guys that are just
I'm
really
gonna throw
smart.
out a couple comparisons that Hate Sam has put in the chat here. He says Brady or Manning almost, Brady or Dan Marino almost. And then he said Josh Allen or Mac Jones. I will kind of disagree with that because Mac Jones has physical tools, guys. He's like the prototypical pocket passer is what people view him as, but he has physical tools.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and Mac Jones is actually a fantastic example with a guy that has physical tools, yes, but very smart.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart, knows how to read a defense, knows where he's going with the football, and makes all of his reads. Mac Jones is going to be known if he has success in the NFL for a very long time. It's going to be about how smart he was, not about how well he can play football.
Which is hilarious because with Brady, it was how smart he was. It wasn't how physical he could be.
And exactly my point. That's why I probably would take IQ over the physical traits because IQ, you're able to work around flaws. When it comes to physical traits, you can try to mask how much you don't know about football or how much your IQ kind of lacks for you. But sometimes it just won't get it done all the time. Look at. I hate to say this all the time because everybody hates me for saying, but look at Lamar Jackson, has all the talent in the world. I'm not saying he's dumb or he doesn't know the playbook, but there's only so much, I guess, a talent level is going to be able to take you about, him being a great player.
He is a great player.
He is a great player, but he has some things that bring him down. So he has some things that bring him down.
You just hate Lamar, bro.
He's got to be schemed up. He's got to be schemed to help him out a little bit.
Sure, man. He got Greg Roman, one of the worst offensive coordinators in the league, bro.
Yeah, that is very true. That is
all right. Like he's overcoming Greg Roman, bro, to the best of his ability.
He has to overcome Greg Roman. Yeah,
he has, bro. He got injured.
But he needs that scheme. He needs the scheme. IQ over talent level, in my opinion.
Eric says that's why Rodgers is the best of both worlds.
I wouldn't say IQ. I say scheme over because when I say IQ, it's insinuating that the player's dumb. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying scheme over talent all the way.
I don't know what my answer would be. I'm probably leaning more towards physical because of where the NFL is headed to today, like in today's world, in today's league. And that's what you're seeing more and more. You're seeing the guys with these physical traits and talents, with the rawness being taken, not just at the QB position, but all over the place, at the edge, wide receiver. And I'm glad I brought up wide receiver because I forgot what the next topic was, but it brought me back. We're going full circle to the very first topic with Tyreek Hill and the contract. I've brought this up to you before. Now we could revisit it, and I want to hear the chat's thoughts, want to hear your thoughts. With Tyreek Hill basically signing to quarterback money, I believe that the NFL should start treating their wide receiver position, much like they've started treating the running back position in the past 2 to 3 years, which is you draft the running back essentially every 4 to 5, maybe 6 years, because there's always going to be a good running back or a couple of good running backs throughout the draft. And if anything has been proven, I want to say in the past 2 to 3 years, maybe even 4, and looking forward to the future, we've had the quote unquote best wide receiver class like every single class of the past 3 years. There's always going to be a really good wide receiver class. So rather than going out there and paying these guys, you know what I'm saying? If your team is trying to like stay under the cap, they trying to, still have a good receiving weapons, but they're still trying to compete, why not just draft a receiver every 4 to 6 years, man, instead of like re-signing them to what's going to be quarterback money?
I completely agree with what you're saying because not only it's different from the running back position because there's only one running back on the field most of the time, right? But with the way the game is played now, there's 3, 4 wide receivers on the field at each time. You can rotate these guys. You're gonna find them everywhere. Like you just said, we had like constantly like the best wide receiver draft ever, like constantly, like every year it keeps topping each other, right? You can definitely do that with how much wide receivers go out in a draft too. How many wide receivers are drafted in the first round every year? I mean, whether they work out or not. I mean, they're everywhere, right? They're everywhere. So, in my opinion, it should be more so the wide receiver position being rotated every 4 years and not being signed a big contract, more so than running backs. Because running backs, you got one, and if you keep your one, Adrian Peterson, Frank Gore, So, um, I completely agree with you. I am not a believer of signing wide receivers to big money. I'm not a believer because there's too many factors besides just one wide receiver. You got 3 other wide receivers on the field sometimes. You got a tight end, you got a running back, able to catch passes. There's only so many times you can give your $30 million wide receiver the ball all the time. You're giving a player $30 million to touch the ball 12 times a game, like max. Maybe 15 times a game, max. And usually you get like Tyreek Hill. How many catches does he get a game? How many receptions per game? I want to say maybe 9, 10. 9, 10. Maybe you get him on the end of round. So like total like 15 to 16 touches a game. Maybe. He touches the ball 15 to 16 times. You're paying to get $30 million. So I'm not a big believer of paying wide receivers big money. Maybe that's other people, but the NFL has never seen, wide receivers being paid to huge money and like doing
Success.
something, success,
Yeah.
same thing with top five salary QBs. Well, that's
Hmm.
because they can't really spread the wealth as much as they want to. That's why. But when you sign a guy to big money, expect there to be, don't expect there to be a success, really, honestly, you
Hmm.
know. But yeah. What up,
Uh,
Super Taj World?
Ian, I mean, I don't. It's a good idea, but it won't happen because in order for that to happen, it has to pass the NFLPA, and the NFLPA would in their own right, wants the best for the players, and the best for the players would be getting as
Oh,
much money
if
as they
they
can.
cap, if
But that
they cap
cap by position is never gonna happen, in my opinion.
Not only that, if they cap how much a player can make in general is at they no player would ever sign a contract again. They'll go on strike. First of all, the CBA would never allow that.
That's what I'm
The
saying. Like
player
the
the,
PA
N- the
won't allow it.
NFLPA the NFLPA will not allow it. So
Hmm.
but yeah.
Sister says to that I would ask, would you rather have the Jaguars wide receiver room or the Raiders wide receiver room? Definitely the Raiders wide receiver room,
Raiders.
but the Jaguars. Let's not act
Raiders.
as if the Jaguars didn't spend a lot of money. Like they overpaid every single wide receiver and weapon that they signed, bro.
Yeah, but
Like
I don't even know how that's a question. The
yeah,
Jaguars
like
have the Raiders have Devontae Adams. That's all you have to say.
and Hunter Renfro. And I think the reason he's trying to say it is because Devontae has a big contract, but it's like, are you forgetting they overpaid Christian Kirk? They overpaid old man Marvin Jones, and they overpaid Evan Ingram, even if it was
Yeah.
1 year.
They added somebody else, if I'm not mistaken, to that wide receiving core. Okay, Mac Hollins they have over there. Demarcus Robinson too. Yeah, they have the Demarcus Robinson. They have Devontae Adams, Hunter Renfro. Man, hell yeah, I'll take their freaking wide receiving core over Jaguar. I take just Devontae Adams over in the entire Jaguars receiving core.
Mm-hmm. And then Hate Sam says, "Hey yo, reread the last comment. I got you, bro." He says, "In my opinion, Michael Thomas would have been a better receiver for Tua." I agree with you. I don't even have to read the rest because Michael Thomas, my nickname for him is Slant Boy. Tua to Slant Boy would have been
Not
the
only
perfect
that,
combination.
that's actually Hate Sam. That is exactly what I was trying to get at earlier when I talked about how much of an impact, like will the trade value that you traded for Tyreek Hill and will the contract be worth what you're trying to accomplish with the quarterbacks that you have there? Those quarterbacks, look, Teddy Bridgewater's fine, Tua was fine. They're obviously going to cap the amount of production your offense is going to have with those two players in your lineup because they just can't push the ball downfield as much as other quarterbacks, elite quarterbacks can. Tua has a noodle arm, in my opinion. I don't think Tua has a great arm at all. Teddy Bridgewater has a decent arm. It's fine, but there's only so much Teddy Bridgewater can do for you. He's been with so many teams. He's a bridge quarterback at best, So it is what it is with Teddy Bridgewater. There's no really debate about that. There's only so much that Teddy Bridgewater and Tua can give you to help with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle because they're deep threats. Of course, they can catch the ball short and do that run after the catch, but they're deep threats at the end of the day. Mike Thomas is definitely a guy, a big body wide receiver, a guy that can catch back shoulder throws, catch those 50-50 balls, take slants to the house. He can, Mike Thomas is definitely a guy that more so fits what Tua and Teddy's skill set are. But Mike Thomas hasn't played in a year, so I don't think the Dolphins even thought about trying to trade for Mike Thomas. He hasn't played in a year.
Mm-hmm. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the draft wide receivers instead of paying them thing is that's why part of me thinks that the Chiefs aren't going to miss a step even without Tyreek Hill, even though he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. He was definitely their best weapon in my opinion ahead of Kelsey the way they used him. I think they're just going to draft a couple of guys and keep it pushing. And it would be a testament to how important the QB. Because here's the thing: who's gonna miss who more? You think Patrick Mahomes is gonna miss Tyreek Hill more, or you think Tyreek Hill is gonna miss Patrick Mahomes more?
No, here's the thing: I don't think I think the Chiefs are gonna miss Tyreek Hill, not only because it's Tyreek Hill, but because they lost a lot of other wide. They lost DeMarcus Robinson and Byron Pringle too. Now they just have like Mecole Hardman there, who just drops the ball every time he's throwing the ball. So
They got
Tyreek
McCole.
Hill.
They got Juju. I believe they signed somebody else as well, other than
They
Juju.
re-signed Josh Gordon, but I mean I don't know how much Josh Gordon's
They
gonna give you,
oh yeah. So they got Juju. They re-signed Josh Gordon. They have who was the guy that said Mecole Robinson? They got
Mecole
Corey.
Hardman, yeah.
Mecole Hardman. They got Corey Coleman, and I definitely think they're gonna take one or two wide receivers in the draft. It's not Tyreek Hill and the wide receiving core of last year in the past, but it's not a bad one either. I just think that they could keep it pushing.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that I definitely think they're 100%. They're not the automatic AFC West favorites anymore, and that has more to do with the other additions of the AFC West than it does of them kind of just losing players.
Here's the question for you. With how much the upgrades of the AFC West, with how much the AFC West has upgraded, and how much the Kansas City did nothing but sign Juju. Like, let's be real, they signed Juju, and I mean, what else did they do? Maybe they signed a couple.
They don't have cap space, bro. People say the cap is fake. They don't have cap.
No, I get that, and I can't blame them for that. But with only them signing Juju and I think they re-signed Mecole Hardman or something like that. Where on the rankings do they lie in the AFC West? Because you look at the Broncos, they're clear, even Super Bowl not favorites, but Super Bowl contenders. The Chargers are potentially Super Bowl contenders. The Raiders are on the up and up by getting Devontae Adams and Chandler Jones in the same free agency period. And they got they got other defensive players as well, if I'm not mistaken. I have to go back. I'm blanking right now. But the Raiders are no joke either. Max Crosby in there as well. They still have who else do they have in here? Who else? I'm trying to look here. They got Rocky Sin. Okay, Rocky Sin's all right. But you can go on. You can go on and on. The Raiders are no joke either. Where do the Chiefs, in your opinion, rank in the AFC West rankings?
That's a good question because I don't know how to answer it, man. I do not know how to answer that question straight up. I'll have to wait for the season to come before I say anything. I mean, they're the undisputed king of the AFC West until they're not the undisputed king of the AFC West, which is gonna probably take a week or two to happen if I'm being honest. But I'll say this, even though I'm saying that, my favorite team in the AFC West, that team that I think that has the best shot to go all the way or make it to the Super Bowl is honestly the Chargers. I think they have the best all around roster in the West.
I thought you would say a team like Denver. I think Denver's ready, now.
Denver is ready, no doubt. The Chargers got just as good, if not a better defense than Denver. They have just as good, if not a better offense than Denver as well. Like they're very very even. I guess I'm just
Yeah.
riding the wave of the young quarterback more than anything.
And actually, that makes sense. I would say they have a better offense than Denver, even though Russell Wilson is I. Oh, that's actually hard. Russell Wilson or
It is a
Justin
hard
Herbert.
one. Yeah, it is hard.
It may be blasphemous to say Justin Herbert's better, but just look at the production over the past 2 years. I mean, Russell Wilson has been starting hot these past 2 years, right? But he's been, last year with the injury, but then even the year
And the year
before that,
before,
he
he
just
kind of
fell off a
cooled down
cliff.
like after the
He
middle
fell
of
off
the
a
season.
cliff. Like
Yeah,
he was on pace to have one of the best quarterback seasons of all time, and then just fell off a cliff. And he had like I think the stat was like 19 touchdowns through like freaking 5-6 games or something like that. Was nine. This is insane. But yeah, I mean,
it's definitely good. Definitely a question.
you have to see. I mean, their wide receiver room is definitely better in Los Angeles right now, in my opinion. Even though the Chargers have no joke of a receiving core either, but you look at the Chargers right now with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen still there. I actually give them run for their
And
money
then the
because
draft can
yeah.
happen, and they could
Mhm.
definitely improve their running back room in the draft as well. Like
Yeah,
there's things, man.
yeah. Interesting, man. The AFC West is gonna be a show, man. There's gotta be multiple primetime games for the AFC
Bro,
West
like
showtime.
half of the primetime games this year is going to be AFC West.
Ridiculous.
I mean, Eric, Pete is not the one calling the plays, though. You know what I'm saying? Their offensive coordinator is, but I get what you're saying. Pete Carroll definitely kind of held back Russ, in my opinion, a little bit. But that might be it. I mean, unless the chat has any other questions, we're coming right up on the 1 hour and 30 minutes. Mark right here, KB, unless there's anything that I forgot to say, maybe you want to talk about. We're gonna close it out basically now or in a minute or so.
Yeah, I mean, besides the very small news that the Giants signed the defensive tackle. I mean, that's
Oh yeah, no, I don't see the reason it's not necessarily small news because we signed two defensive tackles now, right? We signed Jihad Ward from the Ravens, and then we signed Big Jelly. And I just want to say, off his nickname alone, I'm rocking with dude, bro. Big Jelly from the
but
Bills.
Jahad Ward is like a pass rusher, but he's like a
He's a
three
pass
tech
rusher,
pass rusher.
but he
But
played defensive
yeah,
tackle for the last team he was which I think was the
okay,
Jags, right? He played DT for them, and
okay.
I see us definitely using him as a DT because we don't have defensive tackles on the
We
roster.
don't have them.
Now we do.
Yeah.
Now we have like four of them. I hope they sign maybe another one on those cheap minimum deals. I definitely hope that we take somebody in the mid to late rounds. But that's why I was kind of excited when I saw the news because I'm like, thank God it's not a glaring hole on the defense now that we actually kind of try and plug it a little bit. It's still gonna be a weakness though, in my opinion. I still definitely think you're gonna see the defensive line as a weakness this year for the Giants because we don't have a run stuffer there right now. We don't have Austin Johnson, who was third in the league in run stuffs. We don't have Dalvin Tomlinson from the year before, who was a great run stuffer.
Yeah.
So we'll see what
I'm
happens, how they try and fix that.
I'm looking at our labs right now, and they're slating him as Jihad as an outside linebacker, but he does work inside as well.
I think
Um,
I saw somebody say they're slating him that way so that he could wear number 6 or something like that, his number.
oh, okay. Yeah, but I could definitely see him being like a NASCAR interior defender. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how big what the contract was. Not that it really matters,
Both
but
of them are
we
definitely going to be vet minimum deals, man.
yeah, bet minimum deals. But I like that we address DT like similar to you, that we're not just going into this year, just trying to draft one and just sticking him there. So Justin Ellis comes from, I trust what Wink Martindale is trying to do. Anybody that Wink Martindale brings in from Baltimore, I trust it because Baltimore is just such a great defense. Same thing with Buffalo when we bring players from Buffalo. Like I just trust what Dable and Wink are doing. Like look at Buffalo and Baltimore have one of the best rosters over the past couple of years. It's not like when the Giants back in
When we're
20
bringing in Carolina and
27
Arizona players.
Carolina, Arizona players, I don't like that. So this is definitely a better two teams to kind of bring players from. So I trust anybody they bring in here. So yeah.
I mean, AJ, you bring up a good point. Dexter could be the run stuffer if they shift him inside and then have Jihad take his place on like that outside defensive tackle role.
I want
They
him
could
to stay
do
there,
that.
though.
Yeah, but I was
I,
gonna say I really
yeah.
love Dexter where he is because he's a complete mismatch where he is.
Mismatch,
They
exactly.
double team and hold this man every single game.
you kind of take when you put him, even though his natural position is nose tackle, Dexter
He
Lawrence.
has the pass rushing moves to survive where he is.
Yeah, exactly. So and on top of that, he provides a mismatch there. He's freaking huge, and he's not, he's gonna be a lot to handle for, opposing guards.
And then shout out to Joseph Clark for a late $2 super chat here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. He
Willis and
says,
Pickett.
if Willis and Pickett go top 4, we're sitting pretty. You're not wrong, bro.
Oh my God. If that were to happen, I mean, the possibilities on what we can do in this draft are limitless. Limitless.
Well, I mean,
If
they're
we get
limitless,
two
but the
slots-
possibilities that I want to do would be Kayvon and tackle.
Yeah, I know, but this would kind of almost ensure that to happen. Almost just there will be only 2 slots needed to fill in order for us to get like possibly a Kayvon if Kayvon's not one of those 2 other guys, but Kayvon and probably any tackle that we want, man. Wow. Yeah,
AJ, Dex is not going to come back cheap, and this is why I said we should give him his 5th-year option, because the defensive tackle market also got expensive. Austin Johnson signed for it was a 2-year, $19 million deal. That's kind of expensive for a player of his caliber.
Are you serious?
Yeah, with the Chargers.
Wow, I didn't see his contract.
And then there was other people like Sebastian Joseph. Defensive tackles were getting money.
Hey, Strasburg, PA.
They were getting money. That's why I'm saying we should give Dexter his 5th-year option right now and extend him during the season if possible, because defensive tackles are not coming cheap anymore. It's not happening. But I mean, like, hey, that was a couple of good thoughts and last minute conversations to have right there. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for right now. KB, if you have it pulled up, you could just read out like the defensive tackle contracts that were given out. But they're not cheap, man. That's what I'll say.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at Austin Johnson right now. He's due $10 million this year. Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. We signed him for like $2 million.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my, damn, did we get a bargain?
Yeah.
Damn, did we get a bargain? Wow. Okay.
So yeah, that's gonna be it for tonight, guys. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys so much for coming in here, tuning in.
Guys. Thank you guys so much.
This was really good. Every time you guys tune in, you watch, it helps me out. Liking it, so everybody hit the like button. It gets it out to the YouTube algorithm more. It gets it, just spinning in there more, so we get more people in here and sharing it. I really appreciate it. You guys make the stream happen, and you make it great. And of course, shout out to KB on here. If you haven't already, click his link down below. Go check him out. Any last thoughts before we close it out, man?
No, man, this is a fan. We had a lot of things to talk about, not just Giants related. And yeah, the NFL draft is coming up. Very excited. But yeah, hopefully I want to see some more trades happen. I don't know about you, but I want to see some more crazy trades.
I just want to see where Baker Mayfield goes, man, because that man could be jobless, bro. Listen, State Farm did not protect Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes from losing their number 1 receiver, and Progressive didn't protect Baker Mayfield from keeping his home, bro. So we'll have to see.
Flo gonna take that money back, man.
They definitely gonna resend everything, man. At home with Baker Mayfield in the Brown Stadium, that's not happening.
Now he's homeless with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, homeless with Baker Mayfield, bro.
Oh man.
Anyway, y'all have a good one. We're out.